Hello, welcome to Learn English Lab. Today's podcast, Real English Conversation. Advanced English lesson topic name is The Role of Humor in Everyday English Communication. We are cracking open the materials you sent us, focusing on something absolutely critical if you're aiming for that, advanced fluency in U.S. English.
Yeah.
And that's humor. I mean, you just listen to everyday conversations here, right? In the coffee shop, an office, wherever. It's just full of wit, little exaggerations.
Right.
Irony. So our mission today, our deep dive, is really about getting past the idea of humor as just like telling jokes. We need to dig into the specific function laughter plays. Why is it everywhere? And how can you, as an advanced learner, not just, get it, but actually use it to connect better, to sound more, native?
Yeah, it's crucial because, honestly, humor acts like the social glue in U.S. communication. It's almost a kind of pragmatic lubricant.
Lubricants, I like that.
We could even define it less as amusement and more as phatic communication. Language used mainly just to build and keep social ties. And in a culture like the U.S., which, let's face it, values individualism, optimism, getting things done, humor is kind of the perfect tool. It's non-confrontational.
Right.
It lets you handle awkward moments, build rapport super quickly, even offer a bit of social critique without, starting a fight or sounding overly serious.
That distinction, humor is a tool, not just fun.
Yeah.
That feels like the core insight here. Because if you miss the joke,
you miss more than the punchline.
yeah, you miss the whole point of why they said it.
Yeah.
And that seems like a big problem for learners.
Oh, it's huge. The biggest danger is just misinterpreting things. You don't catch the irony or the exaggeration they meant you to catch.
And you take an insult literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you hear someone making a self-deprecating joke about work and think they're genuinely incompetent or miserable when really they're just trying to bond over shared stress. Missing that playful layer means you're completely misreading the room, the conversational temperature, if you will. And that signals, it can signal a lack of cultural integration that's deeper than just grammar.
So understanding that playfulness is really a sign of cultural literacy.
Definitely. True cultural literacy.
Okay, let's break down the mechanics then.
Yeah.
How does communicative humor actually work? It can't just be say something funny.
No, it's more structured than that. Fundamentally, it relies on an element of surprise.
Okay.
Or exaggeration, or a subtle twist of irony. Something unexpected has to happen, linguistically or conceptually.
Right.
But here's the tricky part, especially for advanced learners. Humor is intensely cultural and contextual. We're not just talking vocabulary here, we're talking shared assumptions, shared history.
So a joke that kills in one group
might completely bomb in another. Or worse, be accidentally offensive because the reference, or maybe the wordplay, just isn't shared knowledge.
We need an example. Something concrete. How about humor diffusing tension? That seems like a really common use. The materials mentioned that New York City diner story. That sounds perfect.
Oh yeah, that's a classic illustration. It really shows the American, maybe imperative, to smooth over conflict, especially in public.
Okay, set the scene.
All right, picture this. Busy NYC diner, rush hour. Waiter's juggling plates, totally stressed, and bam, spills a whole cup of coffee right onto the table, splashes the customer.
Ouch. Prime moment for annoyance. Maybe yelling.
Could easily go that way. But the customer's local friend Mike, he jumps in instantly, doesn't miss a beat. He just grins and says, well, that's one way to wake me up. Literally.
Okay, hang on. Literally. That word gets used differently now, doesn't it? A learner might hear that and just think, yes, coffee literally woke you up because it spilled on you.
Precisely. And that's the first layer, the actual physical shock. But the joke relies on the second layer, the modern American kind of hyperbolic use of literally as just an intensifier. Like, I was literally dying of laughter. You weren't actually dying.
Right. It just means very or really.
Exactly. So Mike's playing on both meanings at once, the actual event and the exaggerated conversational use. And that pun, that tiny bit of wordplay,
It just flips the whole situation.
instantly, it signals, hey, no big deal. I see the human error. We're cool. It chooses connection over conflict.
So the takeaway isn't just puns can be funny. It's that using language playfully like that, especially when things go wrong, signals advanced fluency, cultural savvy.
Both. It shows you can process the mistake, the social awkwardness, and the linguistic nuance all at the same time. And the result, the waiter laughed, the tension vanished, Mike probably got a free coffee, maybe even breakfast. It became a positive interaction.
That ability to handle things lightly also connects to projecting personality, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about self-deprecating humor. Why is putting yourself down, even jokingly so, almost mandatory sometimes in the U.S.
Well, think about it. It's a culture that really values achievement, success, sometimes quite aggressively.
Sure.
So self-deprecating humor, poking fun at your own small mistakes or quirks, it works as a social balancer. It's like a built-in check against seeming arrogant or too full of yourself.
So if you're smart or successful, but you also make fun of yourself a little, you become more relatable.
Exactly. More approachable. Think about famous people who use it well, like maybe Ellen DeGeneres in her talk show days. That light self-mockery made her seem very down-to-earth, non-threatening.
And there's actual research behind this, isn't there?
Yeah. Psychologists like Rod Martin have studied this. They found that this kind of adaptive, gentle humor, especially the self-deprecating type, genuinely boosts well-being and strengthens social bonds.
How so?
When you joke about your own little screw-ups, you're basically saying, hey, I'm human. I'm not perfect. You're inviting connection on a more vulnerable level. It makes you way more memorable and trustworthy than someone who just presents this perfect, polished image all the time.
So for a learner, it's almost like a shortcut to seeming more integrated and trustworthy.
It really can be a very effective one.
Okay, so humor is functional, but it's not just one thing. The material stress that American humor is this big, messy mix, regional flavors, pop culture references, word tricks. Let's try to untangle some of the main type.
Good idea. We should start with the most language-based one, puns. Wordplay wonders, as the outline calls them. These are key for advanced learners because they really test your grasp of homophones, words that sound the same.
But mean different things, like great and great.
Exactly, or just words with multiple meanings. Puns demand quick linguistic processing.
That Chicago teacher story from 2020 illustrates this well, right? The virtual book club.
Yeah, someone's complaining about a mystery novel saying the plot is just full of holes. Totally unbelievable.
And the teacher, Sarah, pipes up.
This book's so full of holes, it's like Swiss cheese grate reading. Huh. Okay, so the humor hinges entirely on hearing great, but understanding she means great.
Yeah.
Fast Light needs that instant sound recognition.
It's a sophisticated little move slipped into casual chat, and you see puns constantly in headlines, right, for catchiness.
Like that hypothetical one, baker caught kneading dough illegally. Perfect example. Plays on kneading bread and kneading money, or maybe illicit dough. It's quick, memorable wit. So for you listening, practicing simple puns is a good starting point, like the bakery line suggested. This donut is wholly delicious.
Cheesy, but it works.
Yeah.
Okay, next type. And this one feels dangerous. Sarcasm, the double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Saying the opposite of what you mean.
Extremely common, extremely risky for learners, because here the words mean almost nothing. It's all about the delivery.
The tone of voice?
Absolutely, the prosody. Sarcasm is usually marked by either like over-the-top fake enthusiasm.
Oh, that's just fantastic news when it's clearly terrible.
Right. Or maybe more often, a really flat, deadpan delivery. Just zero emotion, signaling irony or boredom. And body language helps too. The eye roll is classic.
So, given the risk misinterpreting it could be disastrous, should learners just avoid using sarcasm themselves?
Initially, probably wise. But you have to learn to recognize it. That's non-negotiable. When you do try using it, stick to safe spaces, close friends, maybe family, and often it's best directed inwards or at a situation, not at someone directly.
Like the LA actor anecdote. Bomb the audition.
Comes out and deadpans to his buddies, oh, fantastic, I nailed it so hard, they asked me to leave.
Only his friends get that he means the exact opposite. He's coping with failure through dark humor.
Exactly, it's a coping mechanism. But sarcasm also builds bonds, especially over shared misery. Think about that Seattle tech office where it's just relentlessly gray and rainy.
Always rainy in Seattle, yeah.
The boss walks in, sighs, and says flatly, great weather for productivity, huh? Everyone gets the shared joke. The weather sucks. It bonds them through that mutual, unspoken understanding. It's subtle group glue.
Okay, let's circle back to the safer ground of self-deprecating humor. Building empathy, showing humility. How does that Uncle Joe's story work? The fisherman.
Uncle Joe in Boston. Retired fisherman, trips over a rug at a family gathering. Potential for embarrassment, right?
Definitely.
But instead of getting flustered, he immediately links it to his identity. See? Even on land, I can't stay upright. Must be my sea legs.
Huh. So he owns the clumsiness, makes it part of his story.
Right. He provides a little narrative. It connects the mistake to his known past, makes it charming instead of just awkward. The key is that recovery, linking the flaw to something relatable, like the practice phrase, I'm so bad at directions I get lost in my own backyard. It's minor, relatable incompetence.
Okay, type 4. Observational humor, pointing out life's little absurdities, the Jerry Seinfeld kind of thing.
Yeah, this needs a good eye for everyday ironies, things everyone notices but maybe doesn't say out loud.
The Texas barbecue example from 2023 sounds very current. Big family gathering, meant for connection.
And everyone's glued to their phones. Total digital zombies.
So the cousin makes the observation, it's like a zombie apocalypse, but with Wi-Fi.
And it lands because everyone sees it. It reflects their shared reality back at them. It's funny because it's true and slightly absurd. It requires understanding the cultural expectation you're supposed to be talking at a barbecue and contrasting it with the reality.
Gotcha. And finally, the simplest. Slapstick and physical comedy.
Yeah, falling down, exaggerated faces, pies in the face, like the Hangover type stuff.
Your big advantage here.
No language needed. It's universal. The anecdote about the dad at Disney World, pretending to trip but dramatically saving the ice cream cone.
Kids find that hilarious. Adults too, usually.
Because it's pure visual silliness, a good fallback if you're not confident with wordplay yet.
Okay, we've got the types. Now the crucial part, context. You can't use the same humor everywhere. This is about mastering the register, right?
Absolutely. Knowing when and where is maybe even more important than knowing how. Humor needs to fit the situation.
Let's start with work settings. Offices in the US seem to like a bit of humor, but there are definitely rules.
Big time. Light humor is generally encouraged for morale, team bonding, stress relief. But it has to be appropriate. No offensive jokes, nothing targeting individuals unfairly. It's usually about shared work challenges.
Like the San Francisco startup example. Big deadline looming.
Yeah, the team lead, Maria, instead of adding pressure, uses that idiom. This project's like herding cats, fuzzy, chaotic, and occasionally claws come out.
That works perfectly. It acknowledges the difficulty with a funny, relatable image. It validates the team's stress, but lightens the mood. It's smart leadership.
And you see it even in super high-stress jobs. Like the nurse in the New Jersey hospital during a crazy long shift, joking, "I'm running on coffee and sheer willpower, call me super nurse."
Humanizes the pressure, creates camaraderie. We're all in this tough situation together.
Exactly. Now shift gears to social gatherings. Parties, weddings, bars. Here, humor is often the icebreaker, or used to affirm bonds, sometimes through gentle teasing or roasts.
Ah, the roast. The tricky American tradition.
It is. Needs affection behind it. The Atlanta wedding toast example. The best man teases the groom. Back then, he couldn't boil water. Now he's married a chef. Talk about upgrading.
It's a jab, but it's really praising his good luck and celebrating the couple. It works because it comes from a place of friendship and shared history.
Right, or simpler stuff, like at a bar. Instead of just cold beer, maybe, "This beer's so cold, it's giving me brain freeze," literally chilling thoughts. A small pun, an observation, just an invitation to chat.
Okay, then there's the deepest level, family and friends. This is where inside jokes live.
Totally. This humor relies heavily on shared memories, past experiences. It wouldn't make sense to an outsider.
Like the Ohio Thanksgiving story. Grandma burns the turkey. Disaster.
Could be tense. But Dad steps in and says, "Mom, this bird's so dark, it's auditioning for a horror movie."
And suddenly, the burnt turkey isn't a failure anymore.
It's the horror movie turkey. It becomes a funny family legend, retold every year. That inside joke transforms the moment and strengthens the family bond.
We also have to touch on online and media humor. Memes, viral videos. It's a whole different ballgame.
It really is. Social media thrives on humor that's instantly recognizable, often visual, and taps into shared cultural moments or feelings. Like that TikTok of someone arguing with their fussy dog about dinner.
When you bet it's pickier than a toddler.
Right. Millions relate instantly. Or memes like the distracted boyfriend, using a simple image template for endless variations of social commentary. For learners, engaging online, leaving witty comments, trying out memes in relevant contexts is actually great practice. You get instant feedback.
And quickly, the regional blends. Humor isn't the same coast to coast, is it?
Not at all. New York is known for that sharp, fast, maybe slightly aggressive wit. The Midwest often favors gentler, more polite, self-deprecating humor. The South has a strong tradition of storytelling humor, often with exaggeration and colorful characters.
And the Hawaii example blended local culture with a common complaint.
Yeah, the luau joke. Tourists come for the beaches, stay for the traffic. Aloha means hello and goodbye to your schedule. It mixes the warm local greeting, aloha, with the shared groan about tourist traffic. It connects by being both welcoming and wryly observational.
Okay, so we see the functions, the types, the contexts. Let's really hammer home the benefits.
Yeah.
Why should an advanced learner put effort into this tricky skill?
The biggest payoff is connection. Instant connection. Remember the Michigan bus stop story? Strangers bonding over a joke about the crazy bipolar weather?
Sunny one minute, snowing the next.
That shared laugh broke the ice. Turned strangers into people having a conversation, maybe even exchanging numbers. Humor bridged that gap.
It's also a massive stress relief tool, right?
Hugely important. That Florida resident after a hurricane, roof gone, joking, well, now I have a skylight. That's not denying the disaster. It's using humor as a psychological tool to cope, to maintain that optimistic outlook, which is, well, pretty valued here.
And professionally, does being funny actually help your career?
Research says yes. Things like the Harvard Business Review studies show humorous leaders aren't just more liked, they're perceived as more competent, more confident.
Interesting. Why?
Being able to land a relevant joke while discussing something serious shows you have mastery. You understand the topic, the audience, and the timing. Think Jon Stewart back in the day making complex points with humor made them stick. So for you, the listener, getting humor right is a powerful signal of integration.
But it's not all smooth sailing. We need to talk about the pitfalls. Where do learners typically stumble?
Number one, definitely misinterpreting sarcasm, hearing nice job after a mistake and actually thinking you did well.
Yeah.
You have to train your ear for that tonal dissonance, the mismatch between words and delivery.
What else?
Cultural gaps. Telling a joke that relies on knowing, I don't know, some obscure 90s TV show reference or a very specific regional thing, it'll just fall flat. Stick to broader cultural touchpoints at first.
Delivery matters too, you mentioned.
Crucially, the Japanese student in Colorado trying the snow-excited pun.
Snow like S-N-O-W instead of so.
Right. Pronunciation was too precise, killed the pun. It shows that even for humor, your phonetics need to be pretty good.
And then there are the big no-nos. Sensitivity.
Absolutely. Steer clear of jokes about race, religion, serious illness, disability, highly charged political stuff. Unless you know your audience extremely well and the context is absolutely perfect, it's just too risky otherwise.
And finally, just trying too hard. Overuse.
Yeah. Forced humor feels awkward. If you're constantly trying to crack jokes, especially if they're not landing, it can seem insincere or like you're trying too hard to fit in. Let it come naturally from the situation.
Okay, this is all great analysis. Now let's make it super practical. What are concrete strategies our listeners can use starting today?
Strategy one is simple but powerful. Observation and mimicry. Watch American TV shows, movies, comedians. But don't just watch analyze. How does character A use sarcasm? How does character B use observational humor? Friends is a good starting point for different styles.
And then try mimicking carefully, like the Brazilian learner in Miami.
Right. At a cafe, he used a line referencing The Simpsons. This coffee's so strong, it could wait Homer Simpson. He didn't invent it, but he deployed a widely understood cultural reference at the right moment. It worked. Connection made.
Strategy 2. Build your humor vocabulary.
Specifically idioms and common puns. You need to know phrases like pulling your leg, break the ice, off the cuff, and practice some simple, maybe cheesy puns like the seafood diet one. I'm on a seafood diet, I see food, and I eat it.
Okay. Low risk, high recognition. Strategy 3.
Read the room. Context is king. Know your audience, know the setting. Is it formal or casual? High stakes or low stakes?
Like that job interview in D.C. You can't tell a raunchy joke there.
Definitely not. But the candidate's light joke about the traffic made it despite the Beltway battle traffic here is legendary. That worked. It was localized, relatable, showed awareness, and briefly relaxed the formal atmosphere. Safe, subtle, smart.
Strategy 4. What if your joke bombs? Because it will happen.
Handle failure gracefully. This is huge. The best recovery is humility and maybe laughing at yourself. Don't get defensive or explain the joke.
Like the Seattle learner whose pun failed.
And they just said, note to self, work on timing. Perfect govery. The group appreciated the self-awareness way more than a first laugh. It shows confidence, ironically.
And strategy 5. Create your own anecdotes.
Yes. Use your own experiences as a learner. Talk about funny misunderstandings, cultural differences you've noticed, but frame them with a humorous twist.
Like the confusion over the word hot.
Yeah.
Spicy versus attractive.
Exactly. Tell that story. Make fun of your own confusion a little. It makes your experience relatable and entertaining. It turns a potential negative into a positive connection point.
Let's pull it all together with a few more advanced examples showing humor in action.
Okay. Think about the office prank in Silicon Valley. Intern swaps the boss's fancy coffee for decaf. Risky.
Could get fired.
But the boss, reading the room, responds playfully. You got me, now I'm wide awake to your tricks. He accepts the joke, maintains authority, but also builds team cohesion. Humor manages the power dynamic.
Nice. Then humor is conflict resolution. The Texas Walmart cashier.
Facing an angry customer about the long line, instead of arguing, she says, "We're popular today, like a rock concert, minus the music."
The sheer absurdity of comparing Walmart checkout to a rock concert.
Diffuses the anger. The customer smiles, the tension breaks. Problem solved, transaction completed peacefully. Humor as a de-escalation tool.
And in education, the California professor easing exam nerves.
She tweaks an idiom. It's open book, your brain's the book. It's unexpected, slightly funny, reduces stress, and subtly reinforces the point that they need to have internalized the material.
Really clever. And for the super advanced, you can layer these things.
Definitely. Like that anti-gravity book joke. Impossible to put down. It's a pun and an exaggeration.
Or using very specific pop culture references, like the Star Wars Force joke at a convention.
Right. If your audience gets it, it creates an instant in-group feeling. Very powerful, but requires knowing your audience really well.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Let's wrap up this deep dive. It seems clear that humor isn't just optional fluff in U.S. English. It's core machinery.
It really is. The secret weapon, maybe, for authentic connection. It builds bridges, smooths over bumps, makes interactions more enjoyable. For you, listening, mastering the nuances, the timing of sarcasm, the appropriateness of self-deprecation, that's really pushing into that final stage of fluency.
So the final thought is?
I think it's that the best humor feels natural. It comes from your personality, your way of seeing things. So the challenge isn't to become someone else, but to find your voice, your wit within English. Start small, observe, take tiny risks.
Find your funny in English. Keep observing, keep learning those subtleties, and definitely keep laughing. We really hope this look at the language of laughter helps you connect more genuinely in your conversations.
And if you did find these stories, these insights helpful on your English journey, please do like this video, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to the Learn English Lab YouTube channel. We'll have more deep dives and resources coming your way.
Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's podcast, Real English Conversation. Advanced English lesson topic name is 10 Humor Conversations in English.
Oh.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, while that title might sound a bit like a, formal class, our goal today is pure deep dive. We're diving into a whole stack of real-world communication studies, stories, linguistic research, all focused on maybe the trickiest part of fluency. Humor.
Yeah.
Especially in the U.S.
It's so true. If you're really aiming for fluency, you've probably figured out that just knowing the words and the grammar, well, it only gets you so far.
Right.
American conversations, they're just packed with quick jokes, irony, stuff that has layers of meaning. And if you're trying to navigate work or social life, it can feel like a secret code sometimes.
Absolutely. It feels opaque. But the sources we've gone through, they actually give us a pretty solid, actionable roadmap. It's about turning this complicated social skill into tools you can actually use.
Exactly.
We're treating humor seriously here, not just as laughs, but as a vital part of social smarts.
It really is essential. And our deep dive today, we're going to show you exactly why people call humor social glue. It's what helps you, smooth over awkward moments, build connections way faster than just saying hello. And crucially, it shows your personality, makes you seem confident and natural. Understanding the mechanics behind these 10 conversations we'll look at, it's like a shortcut.
A shortcut to sounding more natural, more engaged. I like that.
Exactly, and being more engaged too. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What actually makes something funny? According to the psych and linguistic stuff we looked at, humor usually needs 3 key ingredients working together. Surprise, exaggeration, or irony.
And often it's a mix, right? Not just one. Surprise is maybe the obvious one, the unexpected punchline, the conversation taking a sharp left turn.
Right. And exaggeration, that's taking something everyday, maybe a small annoyance, and just blowing it up.
Making it absurd.
Totally absurd. And then there's irony, that gap between what you expect and what actually happens. Often done through saying less than you mean, or way more.
Understatement or overstatement.
Precisely. But here's the tricky part, all 3. They're completely tied to culture. What counts as a surprise, or what's seen as too exaggerated, it totally depends on who you're talking to, their background.
And that's the real danger zone for learners, isn't it? If you miss the joke, or worse, you mistake sarcasm for someone being serious.
Oh, yeah.
You miss the entire social meaning underneath. You might think someone's genuinely upset about, I don't know, bad traffic, when really they're just trying to bond over a shared minor frustration.
Exactly. You take it literally and the whole interaction goes sideways. Let's make this concrete. Think about diffusing tension. The classic story from the sources with the busy New York diner.
Okay.
Lunch rush, total chaos. The waiter, juggling plates, accidentally spills coffee right across the table. Instant tension, right? Customer could be annoyed, waiter's embarrassed.
Yeah, awkward, ruined moment.
But the customer, instead of getting mad, uses humor instantly. He just grins and says, well, that's one way to wake me up, literally.
Ah, nice one. The pun.
Right. The analysis here is key. He didn't just crack a joke. He used language as a tool, like to manage the chaos. The pun on literally getting splashed versus needing to wake up, combined with him showing he wasn't angry. It just signaled social grace immediately.
And that little bit of humor flipped the whole thing. The waiter relaxes. The customer probably gets a free coffee or something.
He got his whole meal comped, actually.
Nice. So a bad moment becomes a positive story they both share. The takeaway for us, then, is that humor isn't just passive. It's an active choice. You can use it to skewer the feeling of a conversation.
You absolutely can. And that leads us to another really core function of humor in the U.S. context, showing you're approachable, showing your personality. The materials really hit hard on how common self-deprecating humor is.
We should pause on that because it's such a big cultural marker.
Yeah.
Why is making fun of yourself so, important here? In the U.S., there's this strong value placed on being equal and a real suspicion of anyone seeming arrogant.
Exactly right. So self-deprecating humor, poking fun at your own mistakes, your clumsiness, maybe admitting you don't know something, it's a really powerful way to kind of level the playing field. It signals humility right off the bat.
It's like saying, hey, I don't take myself too seriously.
Right. If you joke about your own flaws first, you basically lower the defenses between you and the other person. Makes you seem more human, more relatable.
You see it with famous people all the time, right? A comedian starts their show by making fun of how they look or some mistake they made. That vulnerability doesn't make them seem weak. It makes the audience connect with them.
Definitely. So for you, the advanced learner, the so what of all this, the real benefit is huge. Studies actually back this up. Using humor boosts your well-being, strengthens social connections. When you use humor appropriately, you're showing more than just language skills. You're showing you get the culture.
You understand the context, the intention behind the words.
Yes. And that makes you a much more dynamic, much more memorable person to talk to. It signals a deeper kind of fluency.
Okay, let's get into the specifics then. American humor isn't just one thing. It's like a mosaic, right? Different regions, pop culture influences. But there are definitely some common formats that keep popping up. We need to break these down.
Right. Let's start with puns. Puns are where you really see linguistic cleverness shine.
Yeah.
They work because of homophones, words that sound the same but mean different things, or sometimes just one word with multiple meanings. It's all about quick thinking.
Yeah, the beauty of a pun is how much it packs into just a word or two. It shows your brain is working on, like, 2 levels at once.
Think about that example from the Chicago book club they were meeting online, talking about a mystery novel. Someone complained it had too many plot holes.
Okay.
And the response was, this book's so full of holes, it's like Swiss cheese grate reading.
Okay, yeah. That's dense. You get the comparison holes, Swiss cheese, and then the punchline swaps great for its homophone great, which fits the cheese thing.
Exactly. For a learner, that's tough. You have to catch both meanings and the sound similarity.
So how do you practice that?
Well, it means really paying attention to words that sound alike or have double meanings. It's actually a great language exercise. You can start small, look for wordplay in ads, or even simple food puns, like the bakery example.
Oh, yeah.
Saying something like, this donut is wholly delicious. It uses holy, it's light, context is clear. Food puns are usually pretty safe, low stakes.
Right. You see them all the time in newspaper headlines, right? Trying to grab your attention quickly. That chef headline was a classic.
Which one was that?
Baker caught kneading dough illegally.
Oh, yes. Kneading dough, the baking action, and dough as slang for money. Requires that double take. Puns show wit. Okay, moving to maybe the riskiest type. Sarcasm. Basically, saying the exact opposite of what you actually mean. Sometimes it's meant to criticize or mock, but often, between friends, it's just for bonding.
This is where learners can really get tripped up. If you miss that ironic tone, you take the words literally and boom, major misunderstanding. So besides just a flat or deadpan tone, what else signals sarcasm?
Good question. Look for specific cues. Often, sarcasm uses over-the-top positive words for negative situations. Like you're stuck in terrible traffic and someone says, "Oh, this is fantastic. Just love sitting here." The word fantastic is totally mismatched with the reality.
Right. Or sometimes it's paired with like an eye roll or a certain facial expression.
Definitely. Body language is key. Also, look for rhetorical questions where the implied answer is obviously the opposite.
That story about the actor in LA who totally bombed his audition, it captures the social sign perfectly. Someone asks how it went, and he just deadpans.
"Oh, fantastic. I nailed it so hard they asked me to leave."
Right. It's a coping mechanism, isn't it? He admits he failed, but without having to sound genuinely down about it. But imagine saying that to someone who doesn't get irony. They'd just be confused.
Totally. But sarcasm can be amazing for building team spirit at work. That example of the boss in rainy Seattle.
Yeah.
Looking out the window at the downpour and saying, "Great weather for productivity, huh?"
Right. It's not about the weather.
No. It's about acknowledging the shared misery, the reality everyone's dealing with. That little shared ironic comment creates this subtle bond. "Yeah, we're all stuck inside working while it pours."
Okay, so if sarcasm is high risk, self-deprecation is probably the safest starting point for a learner. We already talked about why it's important. Culturally, it counters that American dislike of arrogance.
Absolutely. It's a smart tool because you basically control the story about your own flaws. You mention your own mistake lightly before anyone else can point it out seriously. Builds trust, builds empathy.
The example of Uncle Joe, the retired fisherman in Boston, is great. He trips over a rug at a family gathering.
Yeah.
Instead of just being embarrassed, he connects it to his identity. See? Even on land, I can't say upright. Must be my sea legs.
It's structurally perfect, that joke. It breaks the awkwardness instantly, ties the fumble to something relatable about him, his past life at sea, and gets everyone laughing with him. The focus stays light.
So for learners, the practice point is linking your own common minor weaknesses. Maybe you're bad with names, or always late to a lighthearted comparison.
Exactly. Saying something like, "I'm so bad at directions, I get lost in my own backyard," or "My cooking skills are so basic, my signature dish is toast." It uses a bit of exaggeration based on a real small flaw, making it instantly relatable and funny. Observational humor. This is the kind of stuff Jerry Seinfeld built his career on. It's about pointing out the weird things, the ironies, the little absurdities of everyday modern life that we all kind of notice but maybe don't say out loud.
It really depends on shared experience, doesn't it? The listener has to immediately recognize the thing you're talking about for it to land. It works because it validates that feeling of, oh yeah, that is weird.
Definitely. Think about the Texas barbecue story. Great food, good company, but everyone's glued to their phones.
Huh, yeah, that happens.
And the killer observation was, "It's like a zombie apocalypse, but with Wi-Fi."
Huh. That hits home. Everyone knows that feeling, being physically present, but mentally somewhere else online. The joke works because the comparison zombies, which is extreme, feels strangely accurate for phone addiction.
It does. And this type of humor is so valuable for a learner because it makes you observe the culture more closely. It's not about memorizing punchlines. It's about noticing the little gaps between what people say and what they actually do. #, e-slapstick, and physical comedy.
And finally, maybe the most universal type, slapstick.
Wait.
Visual humor, exaggerated movements, staged accidents.
Right. And while you don't need much language skill to get it, understanding why it's used is still important. It often breaks tension. When things get verbally awkward or stressful, a big, silly physical gesture can just reset the mood instantly.
Like the dad at Disney World who pretends to dramatically trip and stumble, not because he actually fell, but to save his melting ice cream cone from hitting the ground.
Exactly. The exaggeration, the physical commitment to the act, it turns a potential minor disaster, losing the ice cream, into pure comedy for his kids.
So for a learner, maybe it's not about doing full pratfalls, but using smaller physical cues.
Yes. Adding an appropriate physical touch, like a dramatic eye roll when you deliver a sarcastic line, or a big, helpless shrug when you make a self-deprecating comment, can really boost the impact of your words. Especially in the US, where people often expect a bit more expressive body language. Okay, this is crucial. We've talked about the types of humor, but the absolute #1 rule is context is king.
Right. What works in one place is a disaster in another.
Totally. A clever pun might make you look smart in a team meeting, but you tell the same pun at, say, a serious ceremony, catastrophe. The who and where change everything.
Okay, so let's talk work. In a professional setting, humor needs to be, well, appropriate. That usually means not targeting specific people, especially bosses or subordinates, right? And definitely nothing offensive.
Absolutely. The main goal at work is usually to ease stress, build team morale, make things feel a bit lighter.
So the best way is often to joke about a shared problem.
Exactly. Target an external stressor everyone's facing, like that San Francisco startup example. They're facing a crazy deadline. The team lead uses a mix of an idiom and analogy. This project's like herding cats, fuzzy, chaotic, and occasionally claws come out.
Okay. Herding cats is a common idiom for something difficult and chaotic.
You're right. And adding fuzzy and claws just adds that lighthearted, slightly absurd touch. They're laughing together at the project, not at each other's performance. That's key.
Makes sense. What about personal humor at work?
It's often about making yourself seem more human, more relatable. The example of the nurse in New Jersey, running on fumes, tons of coffee, calls herself super nurse.
Yeah.
It's a bit self-deprecating, acknowledges the tough conditions everyone's facing, and signals, hey, I'm struggling too, but we're getting through this together. That builds camaraderie really fast.
So for you, the listener, applying this at work means maybe using a light situational pun or a quick observational comment about, say, the meeting running long. Something that shows you're engaged and confident, but you're not pushing boundaries.
Okay, different context. Social events, parties, weddings, just hanging out. Here, healer's main job is often to break the ice, start conversations, and strengthen those connections. Needs to be pretty accessible, generally upbeat.
Wedding toasts are a great example of this, right? They have to be funny, but also appropriate for the occasion. Like the best man in Atlanta joking about the groom.
What was the joke?
He joked that the groom seriously upgraded by marrying his wife, who's a chef, because before her, the groom couldn't even boil water.
Okay. That's a gentle roast. It acknowledges their history together, makes people laugh, but it's still respectful and positive about the couple. Controlled humor.
Exactly. And on a simpler level, like just meeting someone at a bar, an observational joke about the place can work well. Like the source mentioned someone saying their cold beer was giving them literally chilling thoughts.
Yeah, it's a simple pun, relates to the immediate environment. It's light, quick, and it gives the other person an easy way to respond, maybe joke back. It opens the door.
Now, with family and close friends, the rules get a lot looser. Humor here is often about deep intimacy, shared history. And sometimes it's about taking a past disaster and turning it into a running joke, almost a tradition.
Oh, yeah, that mechanism is powerful. The Ohio Thanksgiving story is perfect for this big family dinner, and grandma accidentally burns the turkey to a crisp, total potential disaster.
Awkward.
But the father immediately jumps in with, Mom, this bird's so dark it's auditioning for a horror movie.
Okay.
That joke does two things. Instantly breaks the tension, makes everyone laugh instead of stressing. And second, it creates a long-term memory. Now, every Thanksgiving, they probably tell the story of the year the turkey auditioned.
Right. The humor transformed the failure into a funny shared memory. That's huge for keeping families feeling connected, especially through chaotic times.
Then there's the online world. Humor here is often about massive, quick relatability. Jokes or observations that tap into really broad shared experiences can go viral super fast.
Like that TikTok example, someone filming themselves arguing with their dog about what it wants to eat with the caption, "When your pet's pickier than a toddler."
Exactly. Millions of people instantly get that. That specific, slightly absurd frustration of dealing with a picky pet. It resonates globally.
It connects people through that shared feeling. And memes work like that too, right? Like the distracted boyfriend meme, people use that image as a template for all kinds of ironic comments on politics, trends, whatever.
Totally. Memes are like cultural shorthand. So, for you as a learner, dipping your toe into online discussions, maybe leaving a witty comment on a forum or a funny reply on social media, it's actually great practice. Lower stakes, you can think about your response, #####E, cultural nuances and region.
Okay, we have talked about region. The U.S. is huge, and humor styles really do vary from place to place. Picking up on these nuances, that shows really advanced understanding.
Definitely. The sources point out the melting pot effect, too, like the fast-paced, often intellectual wordplay associated with Jewish comedic traditions is woven into the fabric of New York humor.
Right. Or down in Miami, you might hear more quick, clever puns, maybe even mixing English and Spanish.
Absolutely. And then you see these broader regional patterns. The Midwest often favors that polite, self-deprecating style. Avoiding conflict is key.
Whereas the West Coast, especially California, might lean more towards ironic, laid-back observations, maybe poking fun at wellness trends or tech culture.
Yeah, that fits. And the South has a strong tradition of storytelling humor, drawing things out, exaggerating details, often ending with a kind of folksy punchline.
It's more narrative.
It is. And that Hawaii example perfectly blends the local vibe with observation. The joke about tourists messing up traffic.
What was it again?
Aloha means hello and goodbye to your schedule.
Huh. Okay. It's gentle, right? It acknowledges a real local frustration tourist traffic, but delivers it with that warm aloha spirit. It's not mean-spirited, understanding that local flavor that really elevates your communication.
So let's pull back a bit and just summarize the real concrete benefits you get from integrating humor well. It truly is like a social accelerator.
Benefit number one has to be relationship building. Shared laughter just creates connection fast, like that story of the two strangers waiting for a bus in Michigan, joking about the crazy bipolar snow, sunny 1 minute, blizzard the next. That shared observation and laugh turned awkward silence into them actually chatting and swapping info.
Yeah, it breaks down walls immediately. Benefit two, stress relief and resilience. We talked about coping. Humor is a vital tool for that. The Florida resident whose house got hit by a hurricane,
Yeah.
roof gone, but they joke, well, now I have a skylight.
Yeah.
That's using humor to grab some control back in a situation that feels totally out of control. It shows resilience, which people really admire.
Definitely. Okay, benefit three, persuasion and competence. This one's interesting. Research shows leaders who use humor effectively are actually seen as more competent, more persuasive.
It's true. Wit makes ideas stick. Think about political comedians or even experts explaining something complex. If they use a funny analogy, you remember that analogy way better than just dry facts?
Right. Humor makes information memorable. And benefit four, cultural integration. This is huge. When you understand and respond to humor correctly, you're signaling that you really belong. You're not just translating words. You're getting the unspoken rules, the cultural vibe.
You're showing you're in on the joke of the culture itself.
Exactly. But it's not all easy. Let's be real about the challenges, the pitfalls learners face.
Oh, absolutely. The number one technical hurdle is still misinterpreting sarcasm. It's so reliant on tone and context. A non-native speaker might hear an ironic "great job" after they messed up and actually think it's praise. That can lead to real confusion.
Yeah, that's a big one. Then there are cultural gaps. Jokes often rely on shared knowledge. If a joke references, say, a specific Super Bowl commercial from 10 years ago or a minor character from an old TV show.
It just falls flat if you don't have that specific cultural background. You feel left out, confused.
All right, and what about actually telling a joke?
That brings up delivery and timing. Humor isn't just the words, it's the rhythm, the pauses, the intonation. Remember the Japanese student in Colorado? Tried a pun. I'm snow excited for winter.
Okay, snow instead of so.
But his pronunciation wasn't quite clear. Maybe the timing was off. His friends were just confused, not amused. Delivery matters a lot. You almost have to practice the musicality of it.
That makes sense. Another minefield, offensive topics. America can be really sensitive about jokes related to race, religion, gender, politics, unless you know the people really well and the context is super casual.
The safest bet for learners is just don't go there. Avoid those topics entirely in humorous contexts unless you are absolutely 100% sure it's okay. The risk of offending someone is just too high.
Good advice.
And finally,
overusing or forcing humor. If you try to shoehorn a joke into every conversation, it starts to feel fake, maybe even like you're not taking things seriously. Humor needs to feel like it arises naturally from the situation, not like you're trying too hard. Okay, so we know the benefits, we know the challenges, let's get practical. How do you, as a learner, actually start using this complex skill without falling into those traps? What's the strategy?
Right. Strategy one, start simple. Observe and mimic. Don't try to invent complex jokes right away. Watch and listen. The sources suggest looking at dialogue in relatable US shows, like Friends or maybe The Simpsons. See how characters use humor in everyday situations.
Like the example of the learner in Miami.
Yeah, the Brazilian guy. He noticed how characters on The Simpsons always joked about coffee being super strong. So at a local cafe, he tried it out. Told the barista, "This coffee's so strong, it could wake Homer Simpson."
Nice. We used a shared cultural reference point.
Exactly. It worked because it was relatable, simple, and showed he understood that cultural touchstone. He mimicked a structure he'd observed.
Okay, strategy two.
Build vocabulary and structure. Learn common idioms used for joking, like "I'm just pulling your leg," but also learn basic joke templates, like the classic "I'm on a seafood diet, I see food and I eat it."
Okay. The pun structure.
Right. Once you know that structure, you can adapt it. Learn a few common templates, and you have a framework to build on.
Makes sense. Strategy three.
Read the room. Context, context, context. We keep saying it. Adjust how subtle or broad your humor is based on where you are and who you're with. The job interview example in DC.
Yeah, the traffic
The
joke.
candidate made a light joke about DC traffic being legendary, just acknowledging a shared mild frustration. It showed confidence and local awareness. If they'd used, say, heavy sarcasm about the traffic, it would have sounded negative, maybe unprofessional. Lightness is key in formal settings.
Got it. Strategy 4.
Practice delivery. Remember, humor is performance. The learner in Vegas practicing sarcasm. They didn't just practice the words, "This heat is absolutely delightful." They practiced the deadpan tone and the dramatic eye roll with friends.
Right. You need the whole package: words, tone, body language.
You really do. Rehearse it a bit, even if it feels silly.
Okay, and strategy 5. What happens when it fails? Because it will sometimes.
Handle failures gracefully. This is crucial. When your joke lands with silence, don't crumble. Laugh it off yourself. The learner in Seattle whose pun didn't work, they just smiled and said, "Tough crowd. Guess my timing needs work."
Owning the failure.
Exactly. That humility often works better than the original joke might have. It shows you don't take yourself too seriously, which, as we know, is valued.
Okay, great strategies. Now let's really dig into the core of this, the 10 specific conversations highlighted in our sources. Let's break down how they combine different humor types and contexts.
All right, let's do it. Conversation 1, workplace hierarchy, Silicon Valley. This was the intern playing a prank, swapping the boss's regular coffee for decaf.
Risky?
Very risky. But when the boss figures it out, instead of getting mad, he laughs and says, "You got me, now I'm wide awake to your tricks."
Okay, so what's the analysis there?
It's playful risk meeting quick wit. The humor's function is hierarchy diffusal. The boss joining the joke shows he's confident, approachable, and values team spirit maybe more than rigid rules. It actually strengthens the team dynamic.
Cool. Okay, conversation 2. Morale boost. Route 66.
Yeah.
Friends driving, get a flat tire out in the middle of nowhere, Arizona desert.
Awful situation. But instead of freaking out, one of them declares, "Well, looks like we're starring in our own survival show episode 1, tire change."
Huh. So that's observational humor plus exaggeration.
Exactly. The social function is crisis management and morale building. It reframes a terrible situation as a kind of dramatic adventure, keeps everyone's spirits up while they deal with the actual problem.
Smart. Conversation 3. Intimate banter, family game night.
Monopoly.
Always intense. Bruzzy gets totally bankrupted by his sister.
Ouch. Instead of sulking, he laughs and says she's ruthless like a tiny Wall Street tycoon.
Okay, so that's showing self-awareness about his loss combined with quick wit.
Yep. And the function is frustration released through intimacy. He gets to vent his annoyance in a funny, harmless way that actually reaffirms how close they are. They can tease each other like that.
Nice. Conversation 4. Confidence building. NYC open mic. It's the learner doing stand-up comedy. Brave.
Super brave. And they joke about struggling with English idioms. Asks the audience, "Raining cats and dogs, shouldn't we find a pet shelter? I need to save them."
That's clever, turning the language struggle itself into the joke.
Exactly. It's observational humor about the language plus vulnerability. By making fun of their own confusion, they connect with the audience, show humility, and build their own confidence. Very smart use of humor.
Love that. Conversation 5. Customer service charm, Texas retail. Big box store, long checkout line. Angry customer. The cashier tries to smooth things over.
What do they say?
They say with a smile, "Wow, we're popular today, like a rock concert minus the music and the confetti."
Huh. Okay, that's relief humor using an analogy. The function is tension diffusal and also validation. It acknowledges the customer's wait is long by comparing it to something big, a concert, but keeps it light, changes the mood.
Definitely disarming. Conversation 6. First date grace. Boston. Oh no, someone spills wine on a first date. Awkward.
Super awkward. But the other person instantly reacts, "No worries at all. Hey, red wine's good for the heart, right?"
Smooth. That's quick wit showing composure.
Totally. The function is signaling emotional stability. By joking immediately, they show they're not easily flustered. They prioritize the connection over a small accident. Very attractive trait.
Absolutely. Conversation 7. Anxiety relief. California University. Professor talking to students before a big stressful exam.
Tries to lighten the mood.
Yeah. Says, "Don't worry, it's open book." Pauses. Your brain's the book.
Ah, okay. A little twisted expectation or irony.
Yeah.
Takes the comforting phrase open book and gives it that impossible twist.
Right. And the function is anxiety management. It acknowledges the stress, but encourages them to rely on what they've learned, using humor to gently reframe the challenge.
Subtle but effective. Conversation 8, chaos management, short to BBQ. Outdoor party, the host has a little grill flare-up, burn some steaks.
Oops. Party foul potential.
But he grabs the tongs, looks at the charred steaks, and announces, "Wanted well-done steaks, mission accomplished, and then some."
Huh. Okay, that's observational humor about his own mistake, plus exaggeration and reframing.
Exactly. Function.
Yeah.
Maintaining social equilibrium. It stops the mistake from killing the vibe. He owns the error with humor, shows resilience, keeps the party going.
Smart hosting.
Yeah.
Conversation 9. Online relatability. Reddit forum. Someone posts a photo of a really, really bad haircut they got.
Oh dear. What's the caption?
They label it, "My New Look." Abstract art that just screams midlife crisis.
Okay, that's prime ironic self-deprecation for a huge online audience.
Right. And the function is building vulnerability and solidarity.
Right.
By exaggerating how bad it is with that abstract art line, they invite thousands of people to laugh with them and share their own bad haircut stories. Creates connection through shared minor disasters.
The internet loves that stuff. Okay, last one. Conversation 10. Holiday mishap, New England. Family decorating, the big Christmas tree suddenly tips and falls over.
Oh no, chaos.
Total chaos. But the dad immediately yells out, "Timber!" like a lumberjack. And then adds, "Guess it's going to be a lean Christmas this year."
Okay, that's combining spontaneous slapstick, the timber, with a pun. Lean Christmas.
Perfect analysis. And the function, again, is turning disaster into memory. The immediate funny reaction ensures the story they tell later isn't the year the tree fell and ruined everything, but the hilarious year dad yelled timber. Keeps the family fun alive, even when things go wrong. So those 10 conversations really show the range. Now, for those listeners who feel pretty comfortable with these basics, there are more advanced levels to explore. It's about layering things and tapping into deeper cultural references.
Layering. You mean using two types of humor at once?
Exactly, like that famous line, "I'm reading a book about anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down."
Right. It's a pun. Put down means stop reading, but also literally place it down, which anti-gravity prevents.
And it's combined with the exaggeration of the whole anti-gravity concept, that kind of multi-layered wordplay. That's a sign of really high-level fluency. It requires sophisticated processing.
Cultural depth.
This is about making subtle references that only people with deep shared knowledge of U.S. culture will get. Maybe quoting a specific, slightly obscure line from Star Wars to comment on a current event, or referencing a viral meme from a few years back in a new context.
Like the example of the person at the Vegas convention comparing a speaker's complex ideas to using the Force.
Right. If the person you're talking to gets that Star Wars reference, it creates an instant deep bond. It signals you're both insiders to that piece of culture. But it's high risk if they don't get the reference. It just sounds weird.
So advanced techniques require more fluency and more careful reading of the audience.
Absolutely. But the underlying principle for all humor remains the same. Authenticity. The moment a joke feels rehearsed or calculated or forced, it just falls flat. It loses that spark.
The best humor feels like it just pops out in the moment naturally.
It really does. So the big takeaway here. Humor in everyday American English. It's your ultimate tool for making real, authentic connections. It bridges that gap between just knowing the language and actually living in the culture.
So the advice is, start small. Observe those patterns we talked about. Maybe practice some safe, self-deprecating lines.
Yeah, build your confidence. Learn to use wit to handle those little awkward moments. See it as a skill you can develop, just like grammar or vocabulary.
And here's something to think about, a final challenge for you, the listener. Next time something small and unexpected happens, you drop your keys, you mispronounce a word, you spill a little coffee, pause for a second, instead of just feeling stressed or embarrassed.
Try to find the funny twist.
Exactly. Ask yourself, what's the lighthearted observation here? What's the small, spontaneous joke you could make right in that moment? That little act of finding the humor in the chaos? That's where you start creating your own authentic, funny stories.
Well said. Keep learning, everyone, and definitely keep laughing.
And finally, if you found this deep dive helpful in mastering real English conversation, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.